Let me just weigh in on something that she said, which I think is very critical. If you sum it up in terms of the challenges that we have in terms of the young people getting to the boardroom, there is certainly an aspect of negative bias. Simply because these youth did not perform, the employer or the organization may feel like, you know, I'm not trusting these youth. And then the radicalism and so on and so forth. There is also perhaps from the employer perspective, lack of opportunity for employers to be able to access key talent and skills. And I think she talked about it very well in terms of the youth sometimes may have inadequate skills or training, which they may need to be nurtured so that they are given retraining programs so that they can actually fit seamlessly into the boardroom. And I think the other one is retention and the issue of policy support. And she also mentioned something to do with coaching and mentoring. Nobody was born a perfect person. So you have to learn through experiences, and you have to be nurtured, you have to be coached, you have to be mentored, and there are lots of organizations out there that are doing coaching and mentoring so that even the youth can easily now get into the pipeline and fit in very well into the boardroom without necessarily being converted to become penguins. You understand what I mean? Yeah. The land of penguin, you have the penguin is always in a black suit and a white shirt. That's how penguins are. But you get the peacock who comes with all the diversity, and then the peacock is looked like, you know, you don't belong.
Yes.
And that perhaps can be a scenario that can easily make the youth not feel like they are part and parcel, yet they have brilliant ideas that they can bring into the organization in terms of innovation and also in terms of creativity. So there has to be a deliberate effort, both from the youth and also from the organization perspective, to bring in these people into the boardroom, because they will certainly contribute to increase in productivity and performance.
Still on you, because we have some young people who are now leaders at 23, 24, 25. You're already the lead of a branch or a corporate space, and you have to lead people that are almost your parents' age. So how do I take this up now?
Interesting one. And I think Melvine has talked about it very well, where at her position as the president of the UN, she deals with a lot of people who are older than herself. There's always that aspect of negative bias. The older person will feel like, you know, I've been here for the last 20, 30, 40 years. What really are you going to come and teach me? What can you offer that I don't know? What experience are you going to bring to me that I don't know? And the person, oftentimes they will say, you know, we've always been doing it this way. And then there's a youth also feeling, this guy is too old. He's actually, in fact, they say he's ancient. So let's face him out, because he doesn't know what he's doing, or she doesn't know what they are doing. So it's really got to be mentality change from both perspectives. You as a young person, knowing that you are dealing with people who are older than you, and knowing that they have experience having acquired several years of work or clocked in several years of work. So we appreciate and recognize that. And she said something about doing things with humility. And I think for me, I would rather broadly call it emotional intelligence, where you know very well that as a youth, you are dealing with people who are maybe the age of your parents, and therefore you need to know how to handle them. You cannot go shouting at them and they're saying, this little girl, this young boy, what is he coming to tell me? And at the same time, you also got to stand your ground, because you also have the knowledge, and what is in between your 2 years is something that is valuable to the organization. So it's all got to be a question of emotional intelligence, in my view.
Okay.
And actually, Dr. Mureithi, I don't know, maybe you know this, but it is even harder for us women, for ladies or for female. You know, it is sometimes you hit below the belt and they don't like it. Like if you're in a maybe in a meeting, in a boardroom, in a Senate meeting, and you're questioning, and you see some of your peers, they still have this thing of this is my daughter, or I mean, she's a girl. How? Like, why is she talking to me? Like, why is she questioning me? You know, you guys still have that. For us, at least, we don't see it as much, but they still have that. And when you're hitting below the belt, it irks them, and they do not want to face it. So it is even harder for us. And then it means that you have to be more. You have to be more than a lady. You have to be more than a student. Like, you have to be so many things for you to actually get it right. Yes.
I think maybe just to wrap up on that area. You know, we live in a patriarchal society.
Yeah. And
therefore, there is always that aspect of the male dominating the species, whether it's in the animal kingdom, whether it's in the plant, in the human being kingdom, there's always that aspect. But I can say that certainly things are changing. When we started working, even as young people then, it was very difficult for us to tell anybody older than you what needs to be done. Yet sometimes you may have some brilliant ideas, but it's changing. And you don't expect things to change all of a sudden, like opening and closing a tap.
Yeah.
There's going to be a gradual process. But it's got to be two ways, the younger person and the older person all embracing each other and realizing, at the end of the day, we are here and we are tied at the hip and we need to move forward this organization.
Okay.
Melvine, when it comes to matters morals, because that's also something else that has come up, particularly with students and young people, we are headed a political direction. We are in a political season. The elections are here. Young people are very easily, brought on board to heckle, to bring up violence every so often. So what is it that we are doing different this time around, even at UON? And I know you sit with other university presidents across the country. So what is it that we are doing different this time round to just make sure that young people are not brought on board as far as violence is concerned?
For me, one thing I keep saying is, as a leader, and I'll repeat this, you need to have that sense of moral purpose. And for me, moral purpose is both the means and the end. So how did I get here? What was the campaigns like? Were they because, like I said before, I've been fronted by a force a force that now they dictate that once you're there, then your constituents. Because you see, it's like when I'm there now, the University of Nairobi has to go behind this person. So how did I get there? Did I get there because of someone else? If I did, then be rest assured that this person will always want me to rally behind them together with my students. Who pays the piper dictates the tune, right? Yeah. So that is one thing. And also for you must have a very straight head. I keep saying that for leaders, for us leaders, this is going to be either the best or the worst year, depending on how we handle it because of politics. If you want to lead your people to, we are going to rally behind this person. If the court says, and if the court disqualifies or if somebody does anything, then we are going to rally behind them and you're actually going to court to riot, because that is how you expose them and you allow your people to be given small tokens just for something very, to do something that you do not understand, but the long term effect is actually very, very bad, So for us, I think this year we have to stand our ground, especially if you're a leader elected on merit, then you have to know why you're there. Like, your head has to be very straight. You can't, and you have to analyze all these situations. The reason I have been saying this, and I'll continue saying it, that I am now leading a whole, let's say, almost 100,000 students, and these students have their political ambitions. They have their political rights. They're supporting different factions in the political field. And if I take a side, let's say I take side A, there are people who are in side B. It means that I've taken side A and I have neglected side B. So it means that I also support these students and I do not support this. So for me, I decide, I'm a political human being. I got here because of politics, and I will support. I will vote. I need to vote. I will vote. But for me, coming out loudly and saying that University of Nairobi Student Association are rallying behind candidate A, that is not okay, because the students will start fighting themselves. So what do I have to do within this period? I have to keep on preaching peace. I have to keep on preaching that you have to be tolerant of one another. We have to tolerate. We have to accept and embrace all the political ideologies. We have to embrace everyone. So for me, I have to preach and I have to bring them together. Now I have to be we have to be cohesive as a community. I have to bring them together, and also to tell them, when you go out there, what are you going to do? When a politician asks you to do a task, why are you doing it? Are you doing it, and even if you're being paid, is it the right thing to do morally? Or just because it is not in the law does not mean that you can go ahead and do it, So you also have to keep on engaging your people and educating them. And this is the reason I am here. So I'm here for them. I'm here to ensure that my people do not actually get misused. And for this period, we are very keen on allowing politicians who are coming to the institution, because now you have to be very clear about your agenda. You have to be very clear about why you're here. Any political gatherings right now, we take them very seriously. They have to be educating us and to be directing us towards the right direction.